what is powerlessness? And when I use the word, I'm talking in the context of step 1 of any 12-step program. We admit we're powerless over whatever, and our lives have become unmanageable. The reason I'm bringing it up, and I'm speaking as a clinician, I'm not speaking as a 12-step member here, is that it's a word that seems to create a lot of confusion and misunderstanding, especially with people that are perhaps new to dealing with a problem that might require recovery, as well as academics and clinicians who bristle at the word. Basically, it's not politically correct. This word was used in the first 12-step program in 1935, long before we had the social movements for specific, for gender equality, and for the different ethnic groups, all of which are very positive. I'm not here in any way to be politically incorrect, but unfortunately, powerlessness somehow gets associated with oppression in some way, and it's just off target. To begin with, it's just a word, and at the same time, it's far more than a word. It's an experience. The people who experience powerlessness experience a profound personal defeat. One phrase in AA is pitiful and incomprehensible demoralization. And in addition to being a word and an experience, it's also a phenomenon that an objective observer can try to understand. For what it's worth, this is my understanding, that what powerlessness really refers to is very specific disability. And I would say go even further, and this may make some people bristle, but it's really about a lack of willpower in two very circumscribed areas. One is, if I pick up a dose of a drug that I'm addicted to, I will not be able to use my will to simply decide I'll only take so much and no more, and I'll stop before I get in trouble. If I'm addicted, I can try to decide to only take so much and no more, and I will take more and more and more and more. And it may happen that day, or it may take months. But if I have an addiction, I will always lose control. My willpower does not work where that particular substance is concerned, or in the case of gambling or internet or whatever, that particular activity. So it's a very, very specific, precise meaning. There's another level of it, however, and this one is usually harder for the person with the problem to see and harder to accept. It usually depends on some painful experience to get it. And that is that even though I know I can't do this drug, if I do it, I'm toast. I lose control. It's going to wreck my life, my career, my health, whatever, my marriage. So I won't do it anymore. And I think there are a lot of people with addictions who get to that place and they decide, I'm never going to do it anymore. And, the truth is, some of them succeed. Simple fact from the research, and if you take the life history of anybody with addiction, some of them will have relatives that they just made the decision, they stopped, they never did it again. And I'm not here to know or comment on what the quality of their life was. But for those of us who experienced the first step, we tried that. And deciding to never do it again never turned out to be a little shorter than the rest of our life. And may have tried to never do it again a number of times. And what we find is that we can set our mind to never do it again, and whatever that setting is. If it's a thermostat, it apparently has a way of slipping, and we wind up using again. And we get to the place of seeing that, wait a minute, I don't control it when I use it, and I don't control myself when I don't use it, and if something doesn't change so that I can avoid this using cycle, I'm toast. That's a pretty scary place to be. And when you get to that place, the word powerlessness may not be something you'll quibble over, but even before you get there, if you understand what powerlessness is talking about, you may not be threatened or offended by it other than the threat of the addiction itself. So that's my understanding. I guess I'd like to say something, too, that there's another word that gets confused here, and that's helplessness. Helplessness and powerlessness are not the same thing. If I'm helpless, that means there's no help available. With addictions, as long as I believe I have the power either to control it or to control myself by myself, help is not available. I am psychologically helpless because I see no reason for the help. I don't think I have to have it, and it wouldn't serve any purpose. I have no motivation to use it. Once I face my powerlessness, then I start looking around and say, God, has somebody got an answer here? And if somebody does, I'm receptive. So powerlessness, the experience of it, leads to freedom from helplessness. And continuing to believe in power that I don't have makes me helpless. So I don't know if that helps at all, but I'm just trying to clarify something here, because I think these words, powerlessness and helplessness, are stumbling blocks for a lot of people. So thank you for listening.